Welcome to today's Facebook Live. Today we are talking about to live the life you truly want, stop focusing on what you are not and focus on what you are. To live the life you truly want, stop focusing on what you are not and focus on what you are. So welcome. If you're here in person, please say hi. Say hi in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, please put hashtag replay. I love knowing you're here, and I'll always answer any comments or questions. So please post them now or post them when you watch the replay. If you're here in person, post them now. And I'm Peggy O'Neill, and I'm the founder of Answering the Call, where we answer that call. That it's a longing that's calling us to know who we truly are and what we're here to truly express and bring into the world. So let's begin our conversation today. So to live the life you truly want, stop focusing on what you are not and focus on what you are. So what are you not? What does that mean? What are you not? We can't hear this often enough, but we are not our thoughts. Why are we not our thoughts? Our thoughts come and then they go. They arise and then they disappear. So you can check that out right now. Notice that you've probably had several thoughts since this started. In fact, if you were here right on time, you might have been wondering, where is she? Well, something happened again this week where it wouldn't start, so I had to get out and come back in and all that. So, and then now you're probably thinking about something else. Maybe you're thinking about the question I asked. Our thoughts are always changing. And who we essentially are, who you essentially are, has to be something that never changes. If you think of the word essential, that's what essential means. It's always there. So you're not your thoughts, even though we identify with them. What do I mean by that? We say something like, they don't like me. Self-referencing thought, I think that's true. We just naturally, we've been conditioned to think that's true. Or they're inspired by what I have to say. Same thing. Identify with those thoughts. And then all of the other things we've said over the years. I'm not good with money. I weigh too much. I'm fat. I'm thin. I'm all of those. I am. Anything that comes after I am, we're identifying with. But we're not any of that. We'll get to who we are in just a minute. So you're not your thoughts. You're not your body. Real clear one about that. You don't have the same body you did when you were a day old, do you? No. Or a year ago, or even yesterday. We know that thousands, millions of cells have died off in the last 24 hours. A whole lot of new cells are within us today. I may have the numbers off, but we know they die all the time. Looks like we're aging. So we know we don't have the same body. Again, can't be our body. Our feelings change all the time. They arise and then they disappear. They rise. They can seem like they stay here constantly, but if we notice, oh yeah, I was kind of sad a while ago. Now I'm kind of interested in this conversation. So even though in another 10 minutes you may feel the sadness again. So we think it's ongoing, and yet if we really investigate, we can notice, oh yeah, it's always changing. My feelings are always changing. So we're not any of that. We're not any of that. So I'm just seeing if a couple people said they were going to be here, so I just thought I'd say hi if they were here. All right, so that's what we are not. We're not our thoughts, we're not our bodies, we're not our feelings. So what are you then? What are you? So you are this awareness that never changes. This open, empty, allowing space that never changes, is always there. Another word for awareness is source, spirit, the universe, infinite intelligence, divine wisdom, God's infinite being. Whatever name works for you, that's what you are. That infinite possibility. Wisdom. Peace. Now, the feeling quality that's associated with all of that is peace, love, happiness, fulfillment, joy. A lot of people don't like the word happiness, but it's that sense of contentment. All's well is what that means. That sort of peaceful feeling of like gratitude for life. Or not for life, but just gratitude. The experience of being. That's what you are. Infinite possibility. Let that sink in. That's who I really am. Infinite possibility. You are not any of the finite, limited, negative things that you tell yourself. You are none of those. You're actually not even the positive things, because we identify with them, and then we then we think there's something wrong if we don't feel we're quite aligning with all of that. So we're not that either. But most of us spend most of the time fretting over, trying to change, trying to think there's something wrong with the negative things. You're not any of that. You are infinite wisdom. Who you really are, again, we're one being, means you are source, not separate from source, not a part of source, not a piece of source. You are source. And yes, it feels like we're separate because of that. We feel what seems to be the edges of our bodies, and yet what we actually are is a unique expression of source that seems to have distinct qualities about it, so that it can be a unique expression, so that we each can be a unique expression. So we're actually a portal, an opening, if you will, of consciousness, expressing this brilliant consciousness in the unique way it's being expressed through us. That's what you are. This open portal, this open space, filled with possibility. All you are, infinite possibility, expressing through this portal. So why might we want to shift the focus then? Focus away from what you are not. Because that's what the invitation today is. Stop focusing on what you are not. So what can tend to happen, you've heard me talk a lot here about working with our emotions we might notice thoughts, but then to relax our attention from the thoughts so that we're not paying attention to them. We're just letting them be there like you would clouds in the sky. They just arise, they're just there, we just don't pay attention to them. We're actually it's not even like we're trying to not pay attention. Just allow them. They're just there. And yet, what came to me this week as we talk about that, to help us remove the veils, remove what's between us and the full knowing of our essential nature, since a lot of the time is focused on that, we can inadvertently then stay identified with that. Because we seem to pay more attention to the not paying attention to thoughts, to the relaxing of emotions, and so we want to shift our focus then to notice everything I just said, but then to also recognize who we truly are, to let that really sink in a deep way. That as we're relaxing attention from all of this other, that in the relaxing the attention, we're then the knowing of who we truly are, the awareness that we are. And that we allow ourselves to to know that, as we experience the awareness that we are, that we know that, oh, that's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am. So that's why we want to, well, I'm explaining what we're doing, but so why do you want to shift the focus? Because if we stay identified with and can keep our focus on what we are not, then we're actually keeping the portal, if you will, the open space that we are, filled more with what we're not. Because that's what's getting our attention and keeping our attention. And so then we inadvertently keep creating more of who we're not. I hope this is making sense. The more we keep referencing what we are not, then we're going to continue to express what we are not. And yes, there's some noticing of that, because when we notice our thoughts, then we notice we're paying attention to them, then we want to relax the attention. Relax the focus of attention from the thoughts, away from the thoughts. We're really just relaxing the focus of attention. And then knowing the awareness. The awareness was aware that we paid attention to thoughts. The awareness that remembered to relax the focus of attention. And then as we relax the focus of attention, then we know the awareness that we are. So as we so as we do that, then we're allowing for the opening to be amplified. In other words, not crowded with what we're not. So to be open and relaxed and free to fully express who we truly are. So that's the last piece of this, how to shift your focus to what you are, is noticing when you're paying attention to thoughts, noticing when you're relaxing emotions, and not relaxing emotion. Notice when the emotions are there, and then you do whatever the emotional work is. But then again, relax the focus of attention and let it sink in. That's who I am. That's what I am. And then we're allowing ourselves to be what we're here to fully express and fully to be. And remembering that you're a portal, an open, empty, allowing space. So to live the life you truly want, stop focusing on what you're not and focus on what you are. The open, empty, allowing space, infinite intelligence, divine wisdom, infinite possibility, the unique expression of source, love, peace, happiness, and fulfillment. So do we have any questions, any comments? Hey, Sue. So glad you're here. So any questions or comments? Did that make sense? Hope that made sense. And again, the main thing that came to me to share with you today is that with so much attention on relaxing what we're not, then that can keep us focused on what we're not. So the more that we can relax the focus of attention when we notice thoughts, relax the focus of attention maybe after we've worked with emotions, and then let it sink in. Oh, that's who I am. That's what I am. This free, open, empty, allowing space. That's what I am. That's what I am. So that then we're freeing ourselves, or we already are free, but we're experiencing the freedom that we are and that's keeps the space open for us to fully express who we are. So I hope that made sense. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish you a fabulous rest of your day. Bye.